up to another good morning. Time to go. Oh, we are all looking for adventure. We are all looking for adventure. We are all
Welcome back to the 3x5 Live
podcast.
Guys, we are here. We are live
From Pennsylvania.
Home. I'm way tanner than you, by the way.
I mean, you always are. So there's that.
Just saying. So on this podcast, we talk about mindset, productivity, wellness. Last week, we talked about work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
And what we thought would play well into that is to talk a little bit, kind of go down the productivity train a little and talk about scheduling and the importance of scheduling, what that can do, and how that can play into the idea of solitude, which we have addressed here in the past. But I think it's a good time with all that's going on in the world, to talk a little bit about solitude and the powers of stress reduction through that.
Mm-hmm. And when you talk about stress reduction, one of the biggest causes of stress, and we've talked about this before, is managing your schedule and the idea of there is not enough hours in the day. And so scheduling your day, I mean, that was one of the reasons why we put the schedule packs together, where you literally have a day-to-day, hour-to-hour ability to schedule in things that are important to you. And this isn't just your action items that you have for the day that are really important from like a productivity standpoint when it comes to work and, you know, responsibilities with your family or whatever that may be. This is also creating some sacred space and some time for you to schedule things that are life-giving to yourself or for yourself. And
Right.
if we don't schedule those things, I mean, we recognize that they very rarely get done. And if we're not specific about what we're scheduling, then if you just put something in there like time for me or me time, it usually falls apart, right? So I use this book all the time. It's by Rangan Chatterjee, called The Stress Solution. And I was actually talking about this in my latest grad class with one of my students. And he has this idea of do time versus me time. And what he challenges you to do in those pockets of time that you're scheduling something for yourself is to make it an action-oriented item that would create joy for you. So sometimes it's something like, trying an activity that you've never tried before, which gives you that grip muscle and that ability to like create those those neural pathways that Bryan and I have talked about. In the book, he talks about how his wife signed up for like a climbing class at a climbing gym. So it's funny how when we think about stress reduction, sometimes it's that me time where you have to be, I don't know, like watching TV, or like we think about regeneration and unplugging as doing something that's sedentary. When actually, if you create do time, it actually is a bigger stress reducer and you're more likely to do it.
Yeah. And it actually takes you out of your monkey brain. Because if you're like Jessie was saying, like climbing a rock wall, you're not going to be thinking about your grocery list and what the kids need or anything like that. You're focusing on where your feet, your hands are. And going back to the power of scheduling real quick is the schedule cards. When we first came out with the idea of 3x5 Life, we had the schedule version, the note version. We were getting a lot of feedback of, dude, why even have the schedule version? Do the note version. But I was really steadfast in doing a analog schedule because of the power of stress reduction through writing out your schedule the night before. And here we are today, and I bet you 70% of the product that we sell is the schedule version. Because I think people like to put down their big rocks. Yes, we live by our Outlook and our Google calendars. So that's why people thought like, hey, why would you do that when we have this digital calendar that runs our life? Well, if you take a step back and you actually write your day out ahead of time, like Jessie says, you see the holes, you see the gaps, you see areas to put in some due time, compared to just walking into this digital calendar that's going to be throwing reminders at you all day.
And I think it's really nice because you're able to realize that there are, like you said, pockets of time that you didn't recognize were available to you. We feel so busy and overwhelmed. And in fact, there's like a status quo with that. Like we're so busy. We're so like, you say it as if it's like a badge of pride. But I think sometimes when you can step back and look at these areas where there are some spaces, don't just fill that with more stuff, right? Like outward stuff. Fill it with something that's going to create you, like Bryan said, an activity that's going to keep you grounded and focused and like present with yourself and that regeneration recharging period.
Yeah.
Some of the tips that he talks about with what are some things that you can schedule to reduce your stress. always like something that brings you joy, right? So it could be anything that gives you like a daily dose of pleasure. It could be 5 minutes of dancing. I mean, we have lots of dance parties in the morning to some kids bop, right? Because when you start your day with a dance party, the day always goes better, at least in my experience with our kids. Listening to music that's specifically like joyful for you or creates kind of sense of calm. Anything that you can do to give yourself like that pleasure hit in the morning of like, wow, like I have some oxytocin moving, like my hormones feel really good, and you're reducing your stress hormone, your cortisol is something that's awesome to schedule in there. Something that trains your ability to delay gratification. This is that idea of starting something new, a new hobby, a new sport, a new topic that you want to learn about or discover about. If you are challenging yourself to schedule time for you to do that, whether it's an instrument, you're doing two things, right? You're exercising that grip muscle, which helps in the other areas of your time management and productivity. And then you're also finding joy in something that maybe you didn't recognize was something that you were invested in or interested in. And then the other piece is something that involves movement or exercise. If you can combine those things, because obviously we know the stress reduction ability of moving and the hope molecules that are created when we do move our bodies. We talk about this all the time. If you can schedule those chunks into your schedule this week or moving forward, maybe not all of them, maybe try one of them, you'll see that you're going to actually create more time for yourself, which sounds crazy, but it's like a bank. If you put a deposit in the bank, you're going to see that increase in that interest that gravitates towards those spaces and the activities.
Yeah. Which kind of ties into loosely when you have these blocks of time into this idea of solitude, this idea of being with yourself, being with your thoughts, staring at a tree as we laugh about. But when you have those moments of going for a hike, I mean, this is one of the big reasons why I became addicted to ultra running, because it was a solid 1 to 3 hours in the woods by myself with my thoughts. And the longer I'm out there, actually, the better it is, because I mean, I go out there without earbuds in or whatnot, and I'm just in the silence of the woods. And it takes a while sometimes to really sink into that space of solitude. But once you have entered it and you're there, that's when the thinking brain starts, and it starts being really productive and solving problems and just really being with yourself without a ton of inputs.
I mean, there's science actually that backs that with the brain research. There's a part of your brain called the default mode network, the DMN. And a lot of times, like the reason why we don't schedule in things like solitude or being in nature is because we think it's not productive. We think that those things aren't in alignment. But really, when your body is doing something that's like that, they call it an idea like generation process, because you're finally shutting down the noise so that clarity of thought comes to you. So that's why like I used to lesson plan in the shower all the time when I would go to teach. I took really long showers in the morning, but I would think through my lessons, envision what it was going to look like, think about how it might land, ways to improve it. And I always had my best ideas, my creative thinking when I was in the shower. And it's because all other distractions were taken away from me. So don't think of, unplugging or moving away from a task and not being focused on something as like cutting off your productivity and a waste of time, because you actually, again, will get time back, because what you create and how you focus after that time where your brain is working through an idea is going to be so much greater.
Yeah. It's like the idea if you're working through a problem or like a project and you just go for a 30-minute walk to get away and just like detach yourself from whatever you were in deep work with. And then you come back with this new vigor and new ideas for that project or that task.
So that's your challenge this week and beyond is, one, maybe try scheduling your entire day. If you don't have the schedule cards, you can do this in so many different formats. There's so many options for you. But scheduling in every little minute detail of your day might have you recognize that there are pockets that are available to you that you didn't even know were there. And in those pockets, maybe do something, not like me time, but do time, or some spaces for solitude, which we just learned is doing something. That's your idea generation time. So whatever that looks like, just make sure that you save some space for that and see what the benefits could be for you.
Well, that's what we got this week, guys.
What we got for you.
And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Give us a review. That helps out a ton. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe as well. So until next week. Bye.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning. Time to go.